I'm doing something a little different today. Do a little deep dive. What am I saying? This shit's not any different than any other video. What a hot start to this video. This isn't any different than anything else we're talking about. Just Arsenal, right? I got to be clear on the top. I think Arsenal's one of the best teams in the world. They got a real shot to win the Champions League. They got a real shot to have an unbelievably special season. But the way Arsenal plays, and two key revelations, pieces of evidence that I have for Arsenal not embracing the fact that they are one of the best teams in the world. Are you ready? Let's start with this, and then I'm going to show you video evidence of it, okay? Arsenal have taken a league-high total of 117 minutes to restart games from corners in the Premier League this season. Indeed, they also have the longest average delay of restart from corners in the entire league. This is the team that is in first in the league. I would be very willing to guarantee that has never happened before, that the team in first has been doing this sort of stuff. Now, I'm going to say first that this stuff is okay. It's a part of the game until FIFA and officials and whatever decide to try to start making it not a part of the game. You can employ the dark arts. It is a huge contributing factor to how Argentina was able to win the last World Cup. All right, it has been a huge contributing factor of the sport in a lot of different areas for a long time. It's getting worse. It feels like it's getting worse, right? The flopping, the simulation, the incredible amount of time wasting, the pretending, oh, we don't know who's going over to take the corner. Oh, I guess this guy's going to go over to take it. Not, accidentally dropping the ball, walking all the way down the side so the ref has to tell you to go back to where the ball went out initially to take the throw in. All this shit. Right? People have been doing it forever. And in moments, it's a good decision. It is. Just ask Argentina, again, as they work their way through the knockouts, the ability to try and stifle games, to limit games. I don't think Argentina was the most talented team at the last World Cup. They managed the games and found a way to win. In knockout environments, that's the way to go. If you're in a Champions League final, if you're in a title-deciding match, do it. You know what's not a title-deciding match? Fucking Wolves. At all. And it's not just Wolves. I'm talking about the entire course of a season. Because while there's a reason that managers often differentiate between cup competitions and the league. The league is process-oriented. They're 38 games. It goes from August to May, right? It is more about the process and executing the process to get the results and do as well as you can by the end of the season. Because sure, in a one-off game over here in the knockouts, if you're able to manage that game efficiently in towards conclusion, right? If your best choice in that particular moment based off that game is to employ the dark arts, to try to survive to get to the end of that one game, that makes a lot more sense than it being a part of your practice, a part of your process. Right? Because I'm just going to level with you. I don't care if it's Brentford or Wolves. I know the Premier League is hard. There's probably never going to be another unbeaten season in the Premier League again. At least it will be very rare. And dropping a 100-point season in the Prem is very, very difficult to do. Being that dominant is very difficult. But if you're as good and as talented as Arsenal is, which they proved in the Champions League by finishing literally first, let it rip. I mean, I'm not saying be, poor positionally. I'm just saying play more of the match. If you choose to do this, you're playing a shorter match. Why would you want to do that if you're the better team? Because then in games like Wolves, where maybe, just maybe, you're a little more talented than they are, play more of the match and you'll win 3-4, 5-1 instead of waiting, giving them an opportunity where you're not necessarily pressing for that extra goal and they can have a moment and score a goal. You want to know how Arsenal ends up with all these fucking draws? It's because they don't send it. In my opinion, the draw is the worst result you could get. I know that sounds bad, but this is my approach when I'm playing Football Manager and managing the process of an entire season. Right? I'm not going to even pretend that I know a tenth of what Mikel Arteta does about ball in general. But I do believe that if you go out there and if it is level, if you are up 1 goal, keep playing. Arsenal's more likely to score the next goal than Wolves is. If we open this game up and just fucking play, we don't take 2 minutes to go kick a corner, right? Like, if we open it up and just play, Arsenal is more likely to score the next goal than Wolves is. At which point the game's completely out of reach. Like, I realize at some point this becomes a vibes thing, right? That in the cup competitions, it's down to just that one match. And so you're going to try and survive that one match, and it's like a matchup. You know, you feel like you have the certain matchup and you're going to be able to waste the time. But when you're in the league, just executing, being the better team and playing out the full 90 minutes is the way to do it when you're a good team, because this is the shit that not good teams do. Surviving a game, battling, you know, for like every inch you can possibly get. I'm not saying the good teams don't do that either. I'm just talking about more of a matchup idea. Yeah, I'm thinking of like Dyche's Burnley. You know what I mean? These teams that they're outgunned. And so you're focused on matchups. You're focused on time wasting. You're focused on managing the game in a way that gives you a chance. If you're Arsenal, you don't need to do that. You don't need to do that. Because as things get more tense, as things get more tight, as you start going through the season and you're, you know, up in the title race again, trying to employ these dark arts as a matter of principle to the extent that you are literally the worst defender in the entire league is going to come back to bite you in the ass because you're not taking advantage of your talent. It's like Arsenal is playing like a worse team than they actually are, if that makes sense. And this is just, you know, these are just the lunch table thoughts that popped into my head when I saw this. But then if you really want to get wild with it, this is just from the game against Wolves. And I remind you, this is against a team that has won one match all year, against a team that is, at this point, sitting on 9 points. Right, I believe they had 6 draws and a win. Right, they're sitting on 9 points in February, and you've got your league leading team with a 1-goal lead, and they're dropping this. Listen to this, or watch this, or whatever.
It's well put away. Santi Bueno, who carries the ball over to the corner and tries to rush Arsenal here.
This is what I'm talking about, where you pretend you have no idea who's supposed to take the corner, and you leave the ball over in the corner.
Wasting time. What's it take them about a minute for the corner? Easy a minute. You never. I don't think that you ever really get it back.
To try and nod it down towards Armstrong.
That's all these Arsenal defenders do. They go down and hold their heads. I don't know.
I love the announcer says that's all these Arsenal defenders do. They go there and they hold their heads. I mean, it's clearly, I don't blame the players. This is a team directive. Right? This is a team directive. And don't get me wrong, this is an epidemic in the entire sport that I think is ruining the sport. I think it's not the point of the sport. I think they should design the rules to try and prevent this shit from happening. More aggressive with yellow cards, using VAR the way God intended, to find people that are flopping that didn't get hit. Right? Like, that's what we should be using VAR for, not trying to figure out if somebody's nail grazes the ball, so we got to find out another handball. Sorry, that's a different argument for a different time. But seriously, I don't blame the players here. This is obviously a directive, as you'll see as we continue through this video with what I assume is like the Wolves radio announcers, which adds so much color.
He caught him. He'd be down, wouldn't he, if it was head on head?
So now Arsenal with a player down, and it's Trossard. And it's going to add on more time.
Now, the particularly nefarious thing here is, and again, this is not just an Arsenal thing that they are doing here. They're feigning head injuries. And why are they feigning head injuries? Because the referee's more likely to stop the game if they're feigning head injuries. I mean, Mikel Arteta is so anal retentive. I haven't seen a hair out of place on his head for a decade. They're doing it on purpose. They're not the only team. I'm not saying this is an Arsenal-specific problem, but they are really doing it up. Because in the game's rules, you're supposed to stop it for a head injury. So Trossard's holding the side of his head. He gets up and looks to see if the referee's, I guess he's looking for the ref, right? And then goes down holding the side of his head again. Just thought I'd point that part of it out.
We keep an eye on the fourth official.
Why has he gone down?
Well, now Trossard's back down to the ground again. And we've eaten into a minute and a half of the 6 added on.
You know, they come out to look at him. He's back down on the ground again. It's a dude.
This should just fire us up. Honestly, it should, yeah.
Mane, good cross to the far post. Brighter spills it, and it's on the post.
And then they concede. Look, like I said at the beginning of this video, Arsenal's one of the best teams in the world. I think that they're actively harming their ability to actually win the title by doing this shit. Because if, as being one of the best teams in the world, go out and fucking play. Not because it's like, you know, the right thing to do, even because you're more likely to win. You would have, I mean, if Arsenal didn't do this shit and just went out and played the game like it was 0-0, there's a 0% chance in my mind that Wolves ties this up. I mean, near zero. Genuinely. Like, if you just let Arsenal go out there and play, I don't know, like, they're so afraid of playing. They're so afraid of just letting it rip that it is genuinely starting to become, like, a little baffling to me. And I feel bad for Arsenal fans because the purgatory that the club has created, right? This, like, we can't seemingly blow these teams away consistently. You know, it's just ugly. We're going to be here. We're going to try to survive. It's kind of their own making. I sympathize with Arsenal fans. I imagine it must be hell. But this is at least my opinion of what's causing all this shit in the first place. They don't go out and play more of the match. They try and play as little of the match as possible, especially after they get, you know, a goal. It's the Premier League. Everybody, including Wolves, can go get a goal. Go beat them. Go blow them off the field. Go get control of the match and don't cede control of the match to them because you're spending 15 minutes trying to waste time. Who knows? I'm not the coach of the team. They are still in first, and they got a good shot to win the league.